Good morning, friends. I'm ThatPsySquatch. Today, we're going to be making your stupid redstone ideas. So let's get into it. Now, first up, have you ever found a light switch in your home that does nothing? Or like an outlet that does nothing? Well, that's basically what this redstone device is. A worthless button that when you push it, it's just broken and does absolutely nothing. Now, as for the redstone, this one is pretty simple. All that's really going on here is we have a comparator reading out of the back that feeds into a piston, that feeds into another piston, and it just causes this block to pop up and break the button when it's pressed. Okay, fine. Perhaps you weren't impressed with the useless button, but what about a target block that not only moves, but also shoots the player back when shot? So if we go ahead and stand here and we'll take aim and... Now, the redstone for this might seem a little complicated, but in reality, it's actually quite simple. All that's really happening here is we have a calibrated skulk down below that is configured to specifically listen for the resonant frequency for bows. And then when that is heard, it triggers this piston to move these slime blocks, which move the target block. And then that also opens up the visibility for the dispenser, which will then in turn launch back an instant damage arrow back at the player. Now, if there's one person who excels at making weird, obscure things, it's definitely at Joe Hills. And this next redstone is his ridiculous attempt at making probably one of the strangest doors I have ever seen. What's strange about this door, you ask? Well, it's a one-time use, and it doesn't work the way that you think it's gonna work. Now, this doesn't really look too complicated, but I guess we'll just push this button and apparently step through, I guess. Oh, thank you for returning our door. Which I totally put in the wrong spot. Now, I think back in the day, Joe Hills did like an entire episode dedicated to building this contraption, but we're just gonna move on. Now, this next one speaks to me on a personal level because I'm the type of person that can't even keep a succulent alive. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Now, if you'd like to experience what it's like being unable to nurture living plants, well then this redstone is just perfect for you. Apparently all we have to do is just till this ground, and then it immediately gets untilled. Untilled, is that right? Never mind. Now, it turns out I'm not really a redstoneologist, so this isn't the most optimized of logic. But basically all that we got going on here is just an observer to observe the dirt. And then that sends a signal up to the piston to break the dirt. But at the same time, it also locks this line from triggering this piston multiple times. So again, you know, if we just till it, it just gets pushed out, untills the ground, and then retracts. Otherwise, without this little setup right here to lock the signal, those observers kind of double fire, and so it just caused this piston to move a couple times. Have any of you ever stumbled upon one of those crazy looking amarita mushrooms just out in the middle of nowhere and wondered to yourself, I wonder what would happen if I ate that? Well, my answer is you probably shouldn't eat that, and I definitely do not condone eating it, but for the sake of this video, let's totally see what happens. What the? Gustavo? What are you doing up here? And who is... Terrence? Well, wasn't expecting that. I guess... Welcome to the other side, peeps. Okay, enough of that. For this one, all we have, again, is just another calibrated skulk sensor, this time set up for a power of 8, which is the same thing as eating or drinking. And then once it detects that, it just sends a signal up through this slime tower, and then the player gets teleported up here. Now, how did we do the teleport? Well, that was actually using this stasis chamber right here, which all that is just like a 7-block water column with soul sand down at the bottom, and then we just throw an ender pearl down into it. That then floats up here to the top, and then it basically just sits here waiting. And then once that piston is triggered, it will activate the ender pearl, and then we get teleported on up here. Hey, bird. Have you ever dreamed of having a doorbell that instead of welcoming people, it actually tells people to just bugger off? Well, that's basically what we got right here. Except for apparently I forgot to set up a doorbell, so that's fine. We'll just walk on up and open the door. Fine. I guess I'll just see myself out. Now, this setup ended up being a little complicated, but I've already seen ways that I would love to improve on this further in the future, so I may see what I can figure out about that. But basically, all that we're doing here is we're using the trapdoor to actually trigger this piston, which breaks a string that is right here holding up a piece of carpet. So this was set up like this. And then when that breaks that, it breaks the carpet, which then lets the player fall through. When the player falls through, there's a series of string and trapdoors and slime blocks that basically just bounce the player around. Like so. And there you have it. A doorbell that instead of greets people, tells you to just get on out of here. Where are those keys, Rose? Sometimes there's nothing better than just a good old wake and bake. Oh, well, thank you, bedside refrigerator. How nice of you. Now, this redstone is truly really simple. All that's happening is we have a pressure plate where the player is placed when they wake up, and that activates the dispenser and then gives us cake. Yum. Well, doesn't this just look ominous? Look at all that sugary goodness covered in temptation. Well, friends, I think we know exactly what's going to happen here. So before we get on to the finale, I just wanted to say I had an absolute blast today. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. And if you enjoyed the content, please leave a like, subscribe, and maybe even give me some of your stupid redstone ideas, because I would love to make them in the future. So as always, peeps, I love you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Laters!